Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar on modernizing computing for the modern workspace with Chrome Enterprise and Cameyo. I'm Indrajit Ghorpade, Director Solution Engineering with XenTegra Private Limited. I have with me Mr. Vivek Agarwal, Chrome Enterprise Lead for India and Asian region at Google. Hey, hi, Vivek.
Hey, hi everyone. Thank you for joining the session.
And along with Vivek, I have Mr. Paul Butler, Business Development Lead for EMEA and APAC region. Hey, hi, Paul.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, so to start with, I'll just quickly brief the flow of this webinar. So, we'll start with a quick introduction about XenTegra Private Limited. Then Vivek will go ahead and talk about Chrome Enterprise solution and how it works for the end users and along with Cameo. Then Paul will actually walk through about the Cameo app virtualization platform, and there'll be a quick demo about Cameo solution. After a pause session, there'll be a quick quiz, or it will be up here. There'll be a poll, and you need to answer those questions which will appear in the poll. And the lucky winner for the quiz will get a Google branded goodie bag as a token of appreciation. So with this, I think I'll start with the introduction. Just allow me a minute. I'm sharing my screen. I hope my screen is visible. Anyone?
It is indeed, yes.
Yeah. Thanks, Vivek. Thanks for the confirmation. So I'll not take much time. I'll because we our motive is specifically talk about today's topic and the emerging technologies which works well on Chrome Enterprise platform. So with this, right, I'm going to introduce XenTegra as an organization. So XenTegra is a global system integrator, international ID solution provider, and value-added reseller. So we are present at across US and all the states. We have our head office at Charlotte, North Carolina, and we are there in US for last 12 years and covering entire US region. And we have our core expertise into end user computing and digital workspace technology, cloud computing technology, and all the technologies around it. So under XenTegra as an organization, we have couple of business units, or I'll say segments, where one entity is kind of a value-added reseller where we are actually selling software, hardware licensing, and all products and related to end user computing, virtualization, networking, and security. Then we have a business unit for consulting, strategic consulting services, under which we are actually working closely with our customers and the understand customers' pain points and then suggest the possible solutions to our customers out of all our esteemed partners engagements or our OEM engagements. Then we have a managed services entity, which is kind of a 24/7 managed services entity for managed services around virtualization, cloud, again, end user computing technologies, and network security. So this is kind of starting from L1, uh, uh, like uh, L1, L2, and L3, L4 resources. So we have core expertise on all these technologies, certified resources, and we are providing 24/7 customer support to our customers. The last thing is which is kind of our USP, is complementary assessment. So for all those technologies, with whom, or all the OEMs with whom we are working, be it VDI, end user computing, virtualization and cloud, network security. So we even provide complementary assessment to the customers, so where we actually assess, like there is a step-by-step process where we execute couple of scripts and the customer environment, obviously after approvals, internal approvals, and like go ahead from the customer. And then we are presenting like outcome of this particular exercise, which actually shows the areas where customer need to focus on, on the security front, or like some additional functionality required if in case to sort out those issues. So this is, we are offering completely free. Quickly about XenTegra. XenTegra is, as I mentioned, like 12 years old organization from US, and we are having 350 plus customers, 75 plus technical expert, 20 plus focused partners, and we are there to like resell as well as like provide services 24/7 on all the technologies with whom we are working, like Google Chrome, Chrome Enterprise. We are working closely with Chrome team, Cameyo, VMware, Microsoft, IQ as a backup solution, Printer Logic, kind of a cloud-based print management solution, Control Up, ServiceNow, like monitoring and like service management solutions, Logic Monitor, Nutanix, and so on. So under XenTegra, as I mentioned, like we have a couple of having entities. Our international entity, XenTegra INC, like based out of US, then like XenTegra Connect and XenTegra One are consulting and like managed services entities. XenTegra GOV is for US federal government. XenTegra Canada, like we have presence in Canada for last 7, 8 years, and like in India, we started around 2 years back as with XenTegra India. And last is the Computers for Community. It's kind of a non-profitable organization under which we are actually doing a lot of activities, providing IT hardware, like IT devices to the like people who need it, or like students who need it. This is again like all the focus OEMs we are tied up with. Uh, as I already mentioned, we are reseller, services provider, and like solution provider. So these are all services we are offering: digital workspace services, consulting services, managed services, cloud workspaces, and so on. Under digital workspace, end user computing, cloud, networking, and security. Uh, Under managed services, we even provide couple of as a service like offerings, like infrastructure as a service, monitoring as a service, like where we are end monitor we are actually managing the end-to-end infrastructure and providing it as a service to our customers. Monitoring as a service with solutions like ServiceNow, Logic Monitor, and so on. Patch management as a service, like with solutions like Tanium, right, where we are deploying the environment and like managing end-to-end for our customers. Endpoint as a service, like the customers with like the partners with whom we are working, like Chrome Enterprise. We are providing this as a service, like where we are doing hosting the environment and provide end-to-end service to our customers. Backup as a service with solutions like HiQ. And this is kind of right value add we do like for our customers, complimentary assessments, like webinar like this to improve or to have the knowledge sharing, hands-on workshop for like couple of products like Google Chrome, Cameyo, like where we demonstrate how the product works well for the specific use cases. Vendor focused podcast, we are running weekly podcast for all our vendors. Then even we are arranging as well as we are helping our customers to join like a couple of global conferences, events, and so on. So with this, I think it was a quick introduction. So anything yeah, else, right? And you can reach out to me. Like obviously, I'll share my contact information at the end of the session. With this, I would like to conclude my presentation. Thank you, and I would like to hand over to Vivek. Vivek, over to you.
Indrajit, thank you. Thank you so much for giving an introduction of XenTegra. Hi, everyone. My name is Vivek. I'm a part of the Google team managing Chrome Enterprise as a solution. If you can give a shout out if my screen is visible now or not, I think that will be really helpful.
Yeah, your screen is visible, Vivek.
Cool. So in the next 20, 30 minutes, I'm going to walk you through the platform, what we call as Chrome Enterprise or ChromeOS. As you look at it, I think the agenda of the webinar is also modernizing computing for the modern workforce, largely with the help of Chrome Enterprise and Cameyo. But why are we talking about modernizing, right? If you look at what we have been working on from a traditional standpoint, and I'm sure this is not beating competition, but just giving a perspective of how the traditional endpoints have been in the past. It has become muscle memory for all of us, but traditional endpoints actually need a new redesign completely. If you look at the way the IT organizations work today, you get a device, you put an operating system on it, then you upgrade it between different versions of the enterprise itself, and then you add layers and layers of software just to secure it. You add an antivirus, you add your data backup management system, you have group policy or management, you look at PAM kind of solutions for privileged identities, XDR. It just keeps adding layers and layers just before even the user can get his hands on his device, right? It's not a one-time activity, it's also a cyclical activity. I call it the hamster wheel, where the IT is constantly updating virus definitions, patching the operating system, backing up the data, updating software. If you look at the whole construct of how this has been in the past, or it continues to be in some cases, three things that come out for us. One, security has always been an afterthought. We create an operating system, security, let's not bother about it. No. The organizations or someone who needs it will worry about it. It's overly complex to deploy and maintain. It becomes extremely challenging for customers to maintain and manage this on an ongoing basis because of the hamster wheel. You're constantly managing compliance for your organization in the sense if a device is compliant or not. And all of this is also adding layers and layers of software, is also adding additional stack for your cost, which actually increases your TCO. At Google, we saw this about 10 plus years ago. In fact, about 14 years ago, we were in our own technical debt, and we were trying to figure out how do we reduce the technical debt at our end. So we devised this new operating system called ChromeOS. ChromeOS was launched about 13 or 14 years ago with one key thought process in mind: a cloud native OS for a cloud native workforce. The core principles of ChromeOS were speed, simplicity, and security, which continues to be today. No confusing setups, open the device and get started. The device boots up in as fast as 6 seconds or 6 to 10 seconds. There are automatic OS updates to the device every 4 to 6 weeks. Nowadays it's 4 weeks. It can be configured from an IT standpoint. The intent is not to worry about, is my user on the latest version of the operating system? Is my user secure or not? We provide that hands-free update to the user on an ongoing basis. The third core principle was largely around security, wherein Chromebooks today have a zero ransomware attacks on the devices ever, right? And the last but not the least was largely around access to applications. Being a cloud native device, we enable access for all cloud native applications, be it Google Workspace or any other cloud native collaboration solutions. We also provide access to Android applications through the Google Play Store on the Chromebook. We also enabled a Linux container on the device in case somebody needed to do development. And with the partnership of Cameyo, now we are able to provide native Windows app experiences also on Chrome devices. There are three core areas where customers have been using Chrome devices today. It could be for hybrid workers or remote workers. Because it's a cloud-first OS, you do not have to be on-premise for management. It can be managed anytime, anywhere on the go, and the user can continue to use or get access to his enterprise tools securely. The second core construct was largely around virtualization, be it virtualization via desktops or virtualization via applications. It becomes a future-proof endpoint where users can utilize their virtual apps on the go on the device. And the third, the most important use case which we've been seeing also is largely around contact center workers. I prefer to call it task workers, individuals who are doing a specific task, be it contact center, be it field, be it sales, be it kiosks, be it point of sale, all of those solutions being task workers is a great fitment, and we've seen a lot of customers in that segment adopting Chrome OS. I just want to stress on this again. We've all gone through the whole journey of virus and ransomwares and keep hearing about them. Chrome OS is the only platform where there have been zero reported ransomware attacks ever. It's a super secure platform from that standpoint. Why is it secure, right? I think one of the key things we have to look at is the architecture of what we do from an EOC standpoint. If you look at our existing approaches today, you take a device, you have an imaging software or troubleshooting tools, You put the operating system on the device. With the operating system, you also have to have all the other tools for asset management, policy management software, for group policy objects. And then comes your data and application layer, where you're constantly adding agents and softwares on the device for encryption, for antivirus or threat protection, for EDR, XDR, for reporting or insights, or even for DLP, right? All of this has become a single bucket with Chrome, where the ChromeOS difference actually lies in simplification of the security stack. You simply buy a Chromebook device and you upgrade the device with enterprise capabilities using the Chrome Enterprise upgrade license. And that simplifies your journey for Chromebook adoption in an enterprise environment. Everybody talks about AI these days. AI is there everywhere, and it's also an AI first world today. AI is integrated in every layer of Chrome OS, be it AI built into Chrome OS itself, being the foundational principles of the operating system. For example, you would never see a blue screen on a Chrome device. It automatically recovers. The licensing, the policies available through Chrome Enterprise Upgrade, it can help you manage these devices via an AI mechanism to just define your policies as well. From an end user perspective, you can access the best of Google AI on Chromebooks using Google Workspace, Google Cloud, or even Duet AI, or even Gemini or Bard that we've launched recently. If you're using third-party solutions, as you're aware, all the AI that is being built today is being built for the web, wherein Adobe Firefly, Salesforce, Copilot, any of the third-party tools that access and provide AI via the browser, via the web, can be accessed natively on the device as well. There are 5 core principles that we focused on when we built Chrome devices from an end user perspective or even an IT admin standpoint. One was the ability to deploy devices fast. Traditionally, to deploy a device in the hands of a user, it takes about 15, it could take about 5 days, 10 days, 15 days, depending on whether you have the device, you've got autopilot done or not, you've got your golden image or not. With Chrome, we have solved that significantly with the help of what we call a zero-touch enrollment. The second core principle was the ability to easily manage devices remotely and centrally. You do not need local IT support. Everything is done via the cloud. Concepts of admin and regedit and all of that at a device level is completely eradicated. All that happens on the device is a user view, and all that happens on the IT admin's point of view is a cloud native view, which is a central view. If you have once the user has the device, the ability for the user to use the device is largely around applications. We have the ability to deliver the applications that any employee needs to the device safely, securely, wherein we secure the data and the device. And the fifth and the core principle has also been around keeping the cost low, so that the overall stack and complexity comes down and it's much easier for the user to use. And it's also palatable for the organization to manage that cost as well. Digging into each of these one by one from a management perspective, the Google Admin Console, which is the cloud native admin console, provides about 500 plus policies to manage devices. These are advanced security controls to protect your fleet. The policies range between network policies, device policies, user policies, which will apply based on the user construct, app management to be able to publish applications, everything bundled into this package. DLP controls also can be managed through this. From a device perspective and integration standpoint, you can manage these devices remotely. And all these devices, all Chromebooks support single sign-on, SAML-based single sign-on with any of your SSO providers, so that you can ensure that the user need not have to log into the device using a personal identity. They're all logging into the device using their corporate identity, irrespective of what the corporate environment looks like. As an admin, the admin can take remote actions on the device, be it finding a device, troubleshooting a device, be it remotely deprovisioning a device. If a device goes end of life, you can remotely deprovision the device. Remotely performing actions for support. For example, doing a remote desktop into the device. You don't need third-party tools. You can do it natively from the device itself and from the admin console itself. Remotely lock, wipe, clean the device in case a device is lost or stolen. A lot of controls to ensure that you can protect and manage your device and the data on the device. Deployment of the devices has become fast today because of zero-touch enrollment. This is purely association of the device to your admin console in the cloud. The construct is largely to have a contactless delivery. We launched this around the time of COVID because the concern was somebody has to touch the device, somebody has to load the image on the device, somebody has to do autopilot. In this case, everything is done in the factory. The device gets packed and shipped like usual. The user opens the device like usual. In between the process, using cloud native API calls, we can actually enroll the device into your enterprise environment without anybody touching any part of the manufacturing process or the user, or from an IT perspective to enroll. The user simply boots up the device and they can connect to their enterprise environment. Very seamless for the user. And from IT perspective, it's a completely peace of mind. Each device provisioned, managed, fully secure in the hands of the user. The big question comes, how do we get ChromeOS? There are two ways to get Chrome operating system for anybody from an enterprise perspective. One is via our fully integrated stack, which is the Chromebook or the Chromebox, wherein while we work with partners like HP, Dell, Asus, Acer, and the likes to build the devices, the complete stack is designed and defined by Google. So you can work with the OEM partners that we have to buy a Chromebook or a Chromebox, which is the first party native experience of a Chrome device. The second option, which is a very interesting option and extremely key in today's context from a sustainability perspective as well, is to put ChromeOS on your existing device. We have about 500 plus certified device models where you can put ChromeOS and convert an existing laptop, desktop, MacBook, any device into a Chrome device as well. We get asked this question: what is different between ChromeOS and ChromeOS Flex, or Chromebook and Chromebook Flex? There are two key differences that come out, and these are largely because of the integration of the stack. One is the ability to do zero-touch enrollment. On Chromebooks, we provide state-of-the-art zero-touch enrollment, whereas on ChromeOS Flex, there's a manual step which takes about a couple of minutes. On Chromebooks, the app ecosystem goes beyond just the progressive web apps or even virtual app delivery. It also uses Google Play Store. On ChromeOS Flex, we cannot access Google Play Store largely because of it being a legacy hardware that you may be reutilizing. A range of organizations across different verticals have moved to ChromeOS. Be it companies like Colgate-Palmolive in retail, in the public sector, a range of libraries and service organizations. In financial services, three of the large global banks, or the three of the largest top 5 global banks globally are on Chrome. Manufacturing, we have the likes of Sanmina, Fujitec, Lafarge Holcim, they're using Chrome devices. And on tech, this is just a short list, but there's a range of tech companies who are utilizing Chrome devices today. I'll run through a few case studies of customers who have deployed Chrome and their journey. This is an example of a hotel chain in Europe called Nordic Choice Hotels. They were actually hit by a ransomware attack which shut down their operations. And within 48 hours, they converted 2,000 of their devices across different parts of the country and got running into business immediately within 48 hours. For the 48 hours, they were using paper and pen, but then they very quickly digitized everything, moved to ChromeOS Flex, and had a very secure environment to move forward as well. Not just converting the devices to Flex was one of the parts of the engagement, but now with ChromeOS Flex, one, they were able to reuse their existing hardware. They were able to meet their sustainability goals by being able to reuse existing hardware, reducing the footprint for recycling. And third, they were able to safeguard themselves to future attacks as well. The second is a leading global bank. They have a vast range of contact center and support teams, which need to provide 24/7 support to their global customer base. And when COVID hit, within 24 hours, they had to maintain business continuity because all of them had to go back home. They deployed ChromeOS Flex with the legacy VDI provider and Zoom to ensure that they can get their users working quickly. Within a span of 3 months, they were able to deploy 15,000 devices, not in one city, but across Southeast Asia and even in Latin America. The outcome was 35% reduction in the overall cost. And more importantly, they were able to navigate through critical times. They were able to be productive and keep business continuity even when we all were hit by a pandemic. Now, I'll just switch gears from customers to the core of a solution, like Indrajit mentioned in the beginning of the call, modernized computing for the modern workforce with ChromeOS and Cameyo. And this is also my segue to hand over the presentation to Paul after this slide. I think this is one of the key enhancements that we have been working on along with Cameyo to improve employee satisfaction, to improve the employee experience of accessing a virtual environment. If you look on the left is the experience of the past, wherein the user has one desktop, one view, and then he or she has to actually open a second desktop within the existing desktop and a second view. And within that, then he or she is able to work. All right. From a user perspective, it's multiple hops, it's multiple screens, different environments right within the same screen of his laptop or desktop. The integration that Cameyo and Google Chrome Enterprise team have done is to enhance the end user experience by building a web-based virtualization or a virtual app delivery interface. As you can see on the Chrome device on the right-hand side, on the bottom bar, the user is getting a perspective of not just his existing Google Workspace applications, but she can also see a range of legacy applications which provide a very native look and feel or experience to the user to utilize on the device. That's just one part of it. I will not steal Paul's thunder, but I will to Paul to give us a walkthrough of the platform and help us understand the benefits of the platform as well. Paul, over to you.
Thanks, Vivek.
Thank you, Vivek. Great presentation, and thanks for warming up the audience for my presentation. So let me share my screen and we'll get started. So you should be able to see my Cameyo screen. So thanks for joining. So in way of introduction, my name is Paul Butler. I work in business development for Cameyo, based out of London in the United Kingdom. I've been at Cameyo for 2 years. Prior to that, I was at Symantec for 16 years. And I've worked on kind of end user compute since kind of Windows 2, Windows 3. Been using my Chrome OS device for 2 years now, and I love it, and I wouldn't be without it. It really is great after using Windows for so long. So by way of introduction, what is Cameyo? What is everything all about? So Cameyo, we started in 2018 when our founder and CTO was looking at the market for virtualizing and installing software. And he was thinking there must be a better way. Right? If we look at some of the legacy kind of competition, the words like complex, expensive, not cloud native, right? Not doing what customers want, kind of living in the past. Vivek mentioned about having traditional VDI with full Windows desktops. We believe that is last season. It's dated, it's not required. It's also a security risk in terms of having a start menu, having a desktop full of files that isn't required. So you'll see really what virtual application delivery is all about. So essentially what Cameyo is we're delivering Windows, Linux, web applications through an HTML5 browser. What does that mean? I'm using my Pixelbook, running Chrome OS. If I spill my glass of water I've made myself, I can go to a, close your ears, Vivek, a Windows laptop next door, and I can log into Cameyo without any agent, without any configuration, without any residue. I can go into Cameyo and I can get my applications. I can use a Linux box, anything with an HTML5 browser. Right? That's what Cameyo is about. I'm also very proud to work with the likes of Vivek and Google across EMEA with their largest customers. And why is Cameyo partnering with Google, with Chrome OS? And it's the way I like to explain it is we've heard about Chrome OS, how it's great. It's cloud native, there's all the web applications. There's really what I like to call a cloud anchor. That I've not come across a company that hasn't got a cloud anchor. You're trying to get to the cloud, but there's things stopping you doing that. And that's where Cameyo can help running these apps on Chrome OS. By far, the largest request I get is for Microsoft Excel. So the full version of Microsoft Excel running on a Chromebook without Cameyo or virtualization product, that's going to be a difficulty. With Cameyo, I can provide that. Often it's kind of political reasons, right? Or a company like Village Hotels I work with in the United Kingdom, they need macros, their finance director got a specific way of working. They want to have native Excel. So I can kind of provide that. You'll see more of that. So the good news is I'm not going to bore you with slides for the next kind of 20 or so minutes. I'm going to go straight into our product. So you should be able to see the control plane, so the administrative tool where the magic happens, right? So you can see I've done lots of demonstrations this week. I can see the types of browsers, number of sessions, aborted sessions, duration, so normal types of things. Can also see it looks like my American friends are still asleep. It's very early for those guys. Then we've got servers down here. So Cameyo can be used in 3 different form factors. So we've got fully hosted Cameyo. Fully hosted Cameyo is where I would give you a Windows server running in the GCP, so the Google Cloud Platform. I would give you Microsoft RDP licenses. We use Microsoft RDP to present the Microsoft application to the browser. I would secure that server, I would patch that server, and I would charge you an annual fee per user. So it's not per server, it's not per application, it's nice and easy to understand, it's per user. We also support what we call bring your own cloud, right? So if you've got your own GCP instance, that's fine. And for this slide, Vivek, please close your ears. If you're using Microsoft Azure, you can also host Cameyo into Azure, or we've got what we call self-hosted Cameyo. Self-hosted Cameyo can, maybe you've got a VM stack in on-prem, or you've got a physical server 2019. Some people are on different journeys to the cloud. So we can support you if you've still got on-prem physical infrastructure. You like what Vivek said about Chrome OS, about the cloud, what the Google story is, we can help you day one on-prem and take you on that journey. So typically you'd have more than one server in your environment. Then we've got a list of applications here. So by far, the biggest request that I get for Chrome for applications is Microsoft Excel. We can also support AutoCAD, so GPU applications. We can support Photoshop, Linux apps, and all these nice things. So let me go into the apps part of the console. So my favorite application here is Microsoft Excel, right? So if you see at the top there, it says cameyo.app/255. If I sent you that link over email, over chat, you clicked it would launch Excel, right? I can change the name of the application at the top here. I can set a different icon. I can duplicate it. I can delete it. I can also deploy it as a PWA, so a progressive web app. Vivek talked about that earlier. I'll show you what that means in the context of Chrome OS, where you've got a native experience when your users are running a Windows application on Chrome OS. So no URL bar. It doesn't look like it's in a web browser. It looks just like I was running it on a Windows device. Right? The right-hand pane, is the app enabled, yes or no? That's pretty straightforward. Mention that you may have more than one server in your environment. The portal, I'll show you in a minute what that looks like. The portal can be useful if maybe you're planning to move into a hybrid deployment of Chrome, where you're going to have maybe some Windows devices and also some Chrome. You'll be able to have your users to use the Chrome and also Windows to access your Cameyo applications. Share with managed accounts is a nice feature. That's primarily for managed service providers who can manage customers on in terms of software, right? So say I mentioned that you're responsible for kind of installing software. Perhaps you want a service provider to take care of that. Perhaps XenTegra, for example, right? They can take care of that for you. Or you can use this to divide the console up into, say, role and scope-based security. At the top, I've got access at the root. Perhaps Vivek's my manager. He doesn't trust me with the C-level team. so he can configure what applications that I can manage. Restrictions, a nice feature here. This is really kind of for provisioning, right? So maybe I only want people in the finance department to have access to Excel. What that's doing is it's pulling in the finance group from my Google directory. Anyone in the finance group will automatically get Excel. So it's a nice provisioning tool. Say you only have 20 licenses of Excel, right? You can restrict that very nicely in the UI. The 21st person comes along, they don't have access to the application. I can pass command line parameters to Excel, right? So I've got different kind of switches. What we've got down here is a nice feature here that controls the way the application behaves, what we call power tags. So if we look on the interface, I've got nice I for information. I click on I, and what I can see here, it's kind of like environment variables on steroids. So I can control the way the application behaves. So at the top here, I can disable the clipboard. I can disable the clipboard either at a local level, so a per application level when the clipboard is disabled, or I can set it at a global level. So all applications are disabled for the clipboard. So an example I use, say there's a company who's generating quotes for new customers. The sales manager is worried that the team generating the quotes is going to send out information about the quote. So what we could do, we could turn the clipboard off. So users cannot copy and paste the data from the application into their email using exclamation mark clipboard equals 0. Other things we can do here. So connect resolution. Maybe you want to launch at 800 by 600 or 1024 by 768. Maybe you don't want the user to print. Maybe you perhaps only want users within the United Kingdom to access Cameyo. So I can exclude anything outside the UK. They won't be able to get access to the UK infrastructure, right? So I won't go through everything, but that's a very powerful feature of Cameyo. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to launch Excel, right? So what this is doing, I mentioned that I'm based in the United Kingdom, right? The infrastructure that I'm using is using our friends' infrastructure in America under GCP, so the Google Cloud Platform. What it's doing is it's connecting to the infrastructure in the US, right? So the Windows server there, and it's going to start to run Excel on the server, right? So for completeness, with Cameyo, there's no client-side processing, right? So we're kind of doing screen scraping. The processing's on the back end. Nothing's happening on my Chrome device. So Excel is going to be loaded on that server. It's going to be sent over the web. In a couple of seconds, I'll be able to use Excel on my Chrome device as I would normally, right? So I'm using a trial version of Excel. I mentioned I'm a long way away from the server. Can use this as normal with no delays, right? It's really fast. I've got customers in South Africa where latency and poor networking is an issue. I've also got an oil services company who's using it over a VSAT on an oil rig, right? So it performs really well. I can click around here, right? And it's all very nice. So let me show you some other features here. So if I go to File, Save as dialog box, so what we've got here is the Cameyo overlay, right? So this isn't Microsoft Save as dialog box. This is Cameyo's. Why is that important? So it's important, say I'm using GCP, I can force my users to save into the cloud, right? So normally it's a good idea to save into the cloud, right? You don't want to have local data, local residue on the computer itself. So again, if I spill my cup of water on the device, the data is safely into the cloud. I can log in, I can send my data to my manager, right? Another nice feature here, printing, right? So we support the likes of Ricoh, the likes of Papercup. We've also got a nice virtual printer, right? So what the printer will do is, say I click on print here, what we've got in the background, this is going to print to a PDF, and then it's going to connect to my local printer here that's in front of me. So my Office Pro 8600 device, it's in front of me. So there's nothing for the end user to worry about in terms of printing. Right? So let me go back into the UI. Right? So I mentioned I'd come back to the portal. This is what the portal looks like to the end user. At the end of the presentation, I'll show you what it looks like on my Chromebook, on my Chromebook shelf. Right? This is useful, again, if you're dual running between Windows and Chrome OS, right? Whereby somebody can go to another device, they can get their application. So if I look here, I can say I want my Google Chrome down here. I want my Word and Excel. It will remember the settings of the icons, right? Other things to show you. So company settings. So it's very easy to customize Cameyo based on your requirements, right? So at the top here, we've got Cameyo demo. We can change the name of the company. So put your company name at the top here. We can put the technical contact here. So what this is useful for, information about the platform, what's kind of going on, send it to a member that would be responsible kind of like for Cameyo in your environment. You can put your company logo at the top left here. So we're at the moment, it's got our nice Cameyo logo to match my polo shirt that I'm wearing. Can also change the color black to something here at the top. On the right hand side, what we've got here is integration to SSO. So at Cameyo, we don't have our own SSO provider because really we don't need one. So we can tie in with our friends at Google. We can tie into Microsoft, Okta, Ping, anything that supports the OpenID Connect standard. Then we've got connecting your Google Drive in here, right? What we've got down here is session settings. So I showed you within the interface, replace file open save dialog box is normally a good thing to do. So what we're doing then is we're forcing users to save into their cloud drive rather than their local device, right? We can also configure, allow uploads or downloads from the machine. Been talking to customers recently, they work on kind of bring your own device. So it can be useful to configure if the user is allowed to download, to upload to the Cameyo infrastructure. That's all configurable, right? What we've got down here is a nice analytics portal, right? So the analytics portal shows you what's been going on to Cameyo, right? So mentioned you can have fully hosted where we look after that infrastructure for you, bring your own cloud, self-hosted, so I can see how many session requests, how many sessions have been going on, what's kind of been going on in the infrastructure, right, etc. Right. So now let me go into the servers here, right? So the server I'm using here is in Google's GCP. It's in the United States, right? So I've talked about the types of applications that you can use, right? I've talked about Microsoft Excel, kind of legacy CRM, ERP applications that you might be running in your environment, right? So if we look at other kind of technology on the market, some of them you may need to repackage the applications. You may need to present the application in a different way to the technology in a different kind of like format, repackaging. At Cameyo, as you've seen through the UI that I've shown you so far, it is incredibly easy to use, right? What the console I've shown you, that isn't the administrator console, that is what people see. When you've got an application, right, that you want to present to Cameyo, you simply connect into the server, what I'm doing now, take the binaries. So say, for example, you want to publish Microsoft Excel to your end users. You take Microsoft Excel, right, the Excel MSI, right? You can drag and drop that into the device. You install it and configure it as you would on a normal desktop or laptop, right? Just as normal. When it's done, what we do, we detect in the add and remove programs that the application has been installed, right? and then it will appear here. We click apply, and it simply takes you into here where the application appears, right? So it's incredibly easy to get up and running, right? As I start to wrap the session up, I can talk about the business trial and how we do that. Typically, when Cameyo is fully hosted in GCP with the trial, we could be up and running in 60 minutes, right? From when you sign up for the trial, the license gets issued, you can have your Windows server in GCP, you can have Excel on a ChromeOS device in 60 minutes. So it's incredibly easy to get up and running. So let me show you a few more kind of usability things, right? So I mentioned about PWAs, so progressive web apps, right? Which really, for one of you who are new to it, they behave in the same way as a Windows device. So what I'm going to do now on my device is load Microsoft Word, right? So it's working in the same way as Excel was being launched from the Cameyo console. Only you'll see here at the top, right? It looks just like a Win32 application, right? There's no URL bar. It looks in the same way, right? So now let me go into the app. I can use this as normal, right? So when you've got a user that's kind of moving from what they're used to kind of in Windows, this can be like a nice step, right? So they've got an application that they're kind of, maybe you're transitioning to Google Sheets, right? What it can be useful is to show you a user what they've seen before, right? So it's something familiar. So that's what we can see here, right? Another thing to kind of touch on, right? So we've talked about, and Vivek gave me a nice warm up to this, is how Cameyo is all about virtual application delivery. So you've seen, I don't have a full desktop. We believe full desktops are last season. If we have that on the Chrome OS, it makes no sense. So what I've got is just access to the application rather than the full desktop, right? It's still running on a Windows server, right? However, if say I'm nefarious, I want to try and get access to the Windows server, I want to try and do something. If I minimize the session here, see, I've just got the black screen, right? What we've got here is what we call shell lockdown, right? So all I can do is run the application. I can't get access to the server itself to try and run commands, to try and stop and start services or anything. So it's nicely shut down, right? So now let me kind of close this. So I'll show you a nice kind of feature here. So let me go show you what a trial would look like. So I'm now going to go to my downloads folder on my device, and we've got some nice file association integration. So we've got here is the trial runbook I'm going to show you is an Excel file. If I click on that, it's detected that Excel is installed on Cameyo, and from my Chromebook, I can launch Excel in the same way as I would, right, without going into Excel, picking up the file, right? So what this is doing here is it's launching what we use for trialing, right? So as I get close to the end of the session, right, what we can offer you is a free trial where XenTegra can kind of help you get up and running with Cameyo, whereby what we can do is walk you through what the trial looks like, how we're going to kind of get in touch with you, right? Configure the server for you, install some of these applications, get the configuration up and running. As you've seen during this presentation, I haven't shown you any slides. I like our technology to do the talking, right? Cameyo is incredibly easy to administer. It's very friendly for end users, right? Talking about customers that I've been working with, I've got a large financial customer in South Africa that have 6,500 users. They've got just 2 administrators running all those applications. So from an administrative perspective, it's very easy. And another recent customer I've worked with, Village Hotels in the UK, where they were migrating from an on-prem VDI environment. They were really excited about what Chrome OS could offer them, but there was a cloud anchor called an application called Excerpt that they used to manage their hotel business, which wasn't compatible with ChromeOS as a legacy Windows application. Right? And in the last 9 months, I've moved all 700 of their users running fully hosted Cameyo on GCP. Now they've removed all their Windows and they run everything on ChromeOS. Right? So it's a really nice experience, ChromeOS. And I would say ChromeOS and Cameyo, it's better together. So on that note, I'll finish my slides and stop screening my screen and hand back for the next part of the session. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks for the detailed session and demo about Cameo. So I think we actually completed our presentation on time, and now we have time for question and answers, as well as there'll be a quiz which we're going to execute. Before starting the quiz, there is one question in the chat box by Sumit. So if either of you can address that question.
Yeah, so
Sumit, yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, please
thank
go
you,
ahead.
Indra. I just read the question. Sumit had a question regarding delving upon the point of Salesforce and Copilot integration. I think so. The way we talk about AI from a device and ChromeOS perspective is there is AI built at a device level, AI built within the browser, AI built with Google suite of products, and how you can access AI on the web within the Chrome browser itself on the Chromebook. So the Salesforce and Copilot integration is largely around being able to access that via the web versions, because for any of these tools to access AI, you need to be on the browser and be able to do it via the browser. So the integration is largely at a browser interface to be able to connect with that and take care of, integrate with their existing AI environments. It's largely a browser-based or access to AI on the web.
Thanks, Vivek. I hope queries addressed Sumit. Anyone else, right? Any questions? Please post in the chat box, or just let us know. We'll enable your mic, and you can speak your question. Or you can even raise your hand, and we'll enable your mic, and you can ask your question.
Yeah, so there are two questions on the Q&A. Indrajit.
I think
the
Sumit,
first is,
Vivek. Sorry.
No, please go ahead. I think let's go through the questions one by one.
Yeah, so I think Sumit raised his hand. Just a minute. I'll just okay, Sumit, I'll enable your mic. You can ask your question directly. Yeah, Sumit, you can ask your question.
Sure. Thanks, Indrajit. Hope I'm audible.
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay, thanks. So I was just trying to summarize this whole piece. Chrome OS. Can I take it like, it's a bundled piece of, hardware along with obviously OS, along with suite of software in a kind of, ready to use manner. It's like software as a service, since it is primarily over cloud. Can I take that as a summary line?
So
Can I sum it up like this?
Yeah, so Sumit, there are three parts to it. I think the first is, yes, Chrome OS is bundled with the hardware that's called Chromebook. Second option is having Chrome OS on any existing hardware that you may have, which is Chrome OS Flex. Okay. From an offering perspective, Chrome OS along with Cameyo, which is what we provide with the help of our partners XenTegra here, can be offered to you as, commercial modeling can be done depending on your requirement. But that's the kind of bundle we're looking at, where you have SaaS tools to access on the Chromebook, and for legacy tools, you use Cameyo to give a consistent experience to the end user.
I see. Got it. Thanks, Eric. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you, Sumit. There are two questions on the Q&A. Let me just run through them one by one, and then I'll pass on to the panelists for the questions. First one is by Anas Nasir. It says, can we deploy custom app on Chrome OS? So Anas, thank you for the question. I think it largely depends on the custom app type. If the custom app is a custom progressive web app, you can deploy it directly on a Chromebook. If the custom app is an Android app, you can deploy it via a managed Google Play Store. And if the custom app is a native Windows app, you can deploy that using Cameyo. So the short answer is yes, you can deploy custom apps on Chromebook. Depending on the app type, the deployment mechanism would change. The second question, Anas, if I've answered a question, feel free to put in chat. If you have a follow-up question, you can put in chat as well. The second question is from an anonymous attendee regarding, can I host it on Raspberry Pi? When you say, can I host it on Raspberry Pi, maybe a follow-up question, I'm assuming you're referring here to Cameyo. So I'll answer it from a Chrome OS perspective, and then I'll hand over to Paul because it's slightly vague. Chrome OS cannot, or Chrome OS Flex cannot be hosted on a Raspberry Pi because of the processor it runs on. Chrome OS Flex largely runs on certified Intel-based hardware. Paul, over to you. I think the question is, can I host it on Raspberry Pi? Let's assume that it is Cameyo. Can we host Cameyo on a Raspberry Pi?
No, it can't be hosted on Raspberry Pi, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Thank you, Paul. There is a question in the chat window by Rajesh where he's asking, where can we learn more about Cameyo? So Rajesh, Indrajit and the team can reach out to you post this webinar. I think we can discuss in terms of how we can understand your requirement and help set up a configuration for Cameyo. Indrajit, if you can take a note of that, let's reconnect with Rajesh post the call.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Vivek, if I can just add to that. So
Yes,
what we can offer with our partners XenTegra, and we've done this very successfully, is to understand what you're trying to do and to talk about what we have as a 30-day business trial. I showed you the kind of like the spreadsheet we've kind of got there where we interview you, look at what applications you have, look at what you're trying to achieve in a very structured way. As you've seen during my presentation, I've just done a demonstration with it. I've not used slides. We like to let our technology do the talking. You can be up and running with Cameyo on Chrome OS, as I mentioned, just to recap, in 60 minutes, deploying like a simple Windows app. So we'd love to kind of work with you offline. XenTegra is our partner. We can help work with you locally, supported by my team. So really appreciate the question, and thank you, Vivek.
Thank you, Paul.
Anyone else? Any questions? Please feel free to ask your questions. You can put it in chat box, raise your hand, and we can unmute, or enable your mic to speak. I think let's wait for maybe 1 or 2 minutes. If there are no, yeah, I think there is one more question. Okay, there is one more question from Sumit.
Yeah, so let me take the question. Sumit says, I heard that existing Windows apps and Android apps can also be deployed. Is that right? Yes, Sumit, that's right. Existing Android apps can be deployed via managed Google Play. Existing Windows apps can be deployed via Cameyo onto the Chromebook. So that's perfectly accurate. I hope you addressed your question. So Sumit's follow-up question is, does Cameyo have to be licensed separately or is it bundled? Both the options are possible. It's largely a commercial model that we can work with you on. It can be licensed separately as well. And with XenTegra team, it can also be bundled along with the Chromebook. The commercial modeling would depend on your requirement and how we pace it out. But technically, they can also be licensed separately as well.
Yeah, and even as Paul mentioned, right, there is a lot of flexibility on the type of like or the way you want to deploy Cameyo environment. Either it will be fully hosted on Google Cloud platform, or even you can deploy it on premise or any cloud of your choice. So there are a lot of flexibilities in terms of deployment. But by default, if you go for a service, fully hosted service, then that will be on Google Cloud platform. Yeah, I think if there are no further questions, maybe I can start the poll. And then maybe after the poll again, like if anyone is having any questions, we'll address those questions. Just a minute. Okay, so I'm going to launch the poll. There are total 10 questions. So whoever actually answers a maximum correct answers, then you are actually going to get uh, Chrome branded, Google branded goodies. I have launched the poll. Guys, please go ahead and answer the questions.
It's a total of 10 questions. So the first question is, can a Chrome device be managed remotely? The answer is, yeah, it could be a yes or a no. If anyone is having trouble accessing the poll, please let us know in chat.
Yeah.
The second question is, how many ransomware attacks have succeeded on Chrome OS? It's again a single choice question, which has got 4, 50, 0, or 20, all even numbers. So it's an interesting choice. I'm seeing some folks have already moved to third question and fourth, which is great. So let's keep hammering at the questions. Paul, I'm sorry you cannot participate in the quiz. Even if you're trying, all your scores will be wiped out.
I didn't touch it, but it looked like somebody was doing something. It looked like the answers were being filled in. Promise it wasn't me. I wasn't trying to cheat, Vivek, to get the bundle.
While the poll is going on, there's a question by Manu Garg, which the question is, I can't find clarity on licensing costs for Chrome OS and Cameyo as well. Manu will come back to you on the licensing costs. I think once we've gone through the process of understanding a requirement, evaluation, licensing costs can be shared with you offline as well. It's largely subscription-based pricing. Indrajit, how much time do we give for the poll?
I think 5 minutes, because I think
Cool.
almost seven, like almost eight have completed. So like I think six are remaining.
Okay.
Let's keep it for 2 more minutes and then we'll end the poll. Okay, there is one more question, Vivek, by Sumit. So he is mentioning, how do see its usage coming out? Is it more from corporate or individual subscribers? So it is a corporate solution. To answer to your question, Sumit, it's a corporate solution, and it is specifically a virtual app solution, like where you can virtualize your apps and you can publish your apps. So it's a full-fledged, it's a enterprise grade like solution for app virtualization.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Indrajit. Yeah, Sumit, I think we should catch up offline as well. It is primarily a solution for enterprise and corporates only. It's not an individual or a consumer-based solution. No. It's purely an enterprise solution.
Guys, 30 seconds to go. Okay, I think let's eight of like total of 14 participants have completed. So I think let's give like a few more or maybe one more minute and then I'll end the poll. Okay, I think we are done. 6 minutes we have already given, so I'm going to end the poll. Or if anyone want like couple of or minutes more, because I can see like still nine like people attempted fully. So if you want additional time, just uh enter in the chat box or like I'm going to end the poll. Okay, I think if there is no extension required, I'm ending the poll. Okay, so out of 14, 10 have participated. Okay, we'll definitely like look out the results and like the lucky the person who have actually scored well will get a, Google branded goodie bag, which will be delivered to your address. Obviously, we'll get in touch with you and like it will be dispatched to your address. Okay, I think like even we're done with the pool. Vivek, Paul, I don't see even any additional questions in the chat box. Guys, like, please, if you have any questions, please like type in the chat box or like raise your hand and I'll enable your mic. We'll wait for a couple of more minutes. And if like no, if there are no further questions, then we'll go ahead and conclude the webinar. Okay, till the time we're waiting, Paul or Vivek, do you want to add on any like concluding statement, like or anything about Chrome OS plus Cameo story, or like the better together story. Anything if you want to add on?
I'm good, Indrajit. I think we've shared most of the details. For anyone who would like to learn more, can always reach out to us once we do a follow-up post the session. Paul, if you want to add, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Vivek. Yeah, so it's been a pleasure. I thank you once more for your time. More information we found at cameyo.com around kind of case studies, use cases, etc. If you are interested in a trial, again, we can work with XenTegra to kind of go through all of that. But it's been a pleasure to kind of speak with you this afternoon. So thank you once more. That concludes my commentary.
Yeah, I think if there are no further questions, you guys are like anytime you guys reach out to us uh, individually, or like and then we can help you out with all your queries. Even we can help you out with the demo like environment, or like your trial license provisioning, and like where we can demonstrate your use cases, what are your use cases you want to demonstrate. So I think, yeah, we are good with this. Thank you all. Thanks for joining this session, and looking forward for like many more such sessions like for you guys. And thanks, Paul. Thanks, Vivek, for your time and like giving that insight to our audience about Google Chrome Enterprise plus Cameo story. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Bye.